Hello everybody, I'm Mr. Vini. I'd like to welcome you to the 7th grade Social Studies Review of Rome. Today we're going to spend some time looking at some of the key aspects and concepts that you should have learned about the Roman Empire. I'd like to start by talking about the Roman government. I want you to remember that Rome had what was called a representative democracy. This means that the people of Rome elected other people to run the government. It's very similar to the type of government we find in the United States today. So talking about government, let's talk about democracy. And we've mentioned two different types of democracy today, and I want to make sure you understand the real difference between those two. Right? We talked about a direct democracy, and we also talked about a representative democracy. We talked about direct democracy when we talked about ancient Greece. The representative democracy we found in ancient Rome. And the big difference I want you to remember between these two, the one thing I really want you to understand, is that in a direct democracy, people directly participate in the decision making that runs the government. That means that people make a decision on everything that has to be done. They go out and they vote whenever the government wants to make a new law or they want to make just any type of government decision. In a representative democracy, you have people select others, usually by an election, to participate in the decision making that runs the government. So the people don't go out and vote on every issue. They have elected or selected other people to go do that. Like I said, I think this is very important, so we're going to pause and write this down. Alright, we're back. So now let's talk about the spread of culture. Culture in Rome spread all throughout Europe. And one of the big reasons why culture spread was trade. As people started going from place to place and trading goods, they also brought their culture. So there's this natural culture shift throughout Europe as the Roman culture spread to different areas. Another big reason was military conquest. As Rome went out and conquered other areas, they brought their culture with them. So as the Roman Empire expanded, Roman culture also expanded. A final thing was a very vast system of roads. Romans built roads to connect every part of their empire, and the roads made travel easy, they made it safe, they made it fast. So with these roads, people were going around, and as people traveled, as we talked about through trade and conquest, they brought their culture with them also. So let's look at the effect of expansion. All right. As Rome expanded, and as you can see on the map, you have some red areas, some yellow areas, some green area. These are all the areas that Rome expanded to during the empire. One of the effects of this expansion was that small farms became large estates. As the small farmers could not afford to run their farms anymore, the patricians came in, they bought up the land, and they created these large estates. So what did those farmers do? Well, those farmers moved to the cities, and they thought they'd find work there. The problem was, as they moved to the cities, there were no jobs. So because there were no jobs, they started to sell their votes. By selling their votes, this led to a loss of political rights. People were no longer voting for who they thought was the best candidate. They were voting for who gave them the most money. But I think there's one effect that I really like to stress, and the most important one was probably an increased use of slaves. As the Roman Empire expanded, they started to use more and more slaves from the areas they conquered. Let's take a look at why slavery increased. And there's really only one main reason why slavery increased. And the reason was the people of Rome were so impressed by the wealth they found in other areas. In areas like Greece, areas like Syria, and areas like Carthage. They looked at the wealthy people there and said, these people have a lot more money than the wealthy people in Rome. What was the one thing all three of those places had that Rome did not have? And they came to the realization it was slavery. So that's the main reason why slavery increased. I think we should stop for a moment, and you should write this down. All right, we are back. So I want to say thanks for listening. We spent a little time talking about Rome today. Hope you picked up the important concepts. I'm looking forward to seeing you in class, and keep studying the history.